Hi, I'm Joanne. I'm a citizen of Lakeville, and I'm here today to interview the incumbent and the candidate for town treasurer and tax collector for Lakeville. So I'm here today with the incumbent, and this is Deb. You like to be called Deb?
Yes, Deb
Kenney.
is good. Deb Kenney.
And we have a few questions for her, which she will answer for you and let you know some things about her to help you make your decision on April 1st. How long have you been the actual town collector and tax collector and treasurer?
I've been the town treasurer and tax collector. I'm going on my 20th year.
Ooh,
And I've been in the treasurer collector's office for 25 years.
25 total years.
Yes.
Where did you work beforehand?
Beforehand?
Yeah, I'm just curious about your history, your
My
background.
history, where did I work? I worked, well, I was a stay-at-home mom for a while.
Okay.
Worked part-time at the school, subbing it sometimes. Worked in the cafeteria sometimes. I was a flight attendant before that.
Wow, a flight attendant.
And I worked at Social National Bank, one of my first jobs in the international department.
Okay.
Yes.
And that helped you get into the finance area?
Well, not really, because everything that happened to me with the job, I started working part-time in the treasurer's office a couple of days a week, and I was going to school nights. And worked there 2 years, then my husband passed away, and a full-time job came up, so I took it. So I worked full-time, and treasurer's side, collector's side, and eventually I worked in the payroll department. So that's every
wow.
aspect
So
of the job. I've done every aspect of the job.
Wow. Now see, having that kind of background, I would think, would be very helpful for you to...
It was very helpful.
Okay.
Yep. And then when the treasurer was appointed to town administrator, I was appointed to be the acting treasurer collector. Then I ran in April against two opponents, and I won, and I've been the treasurer tax collector ever since.
20 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Close to 20 years, yeah.
Wow. So how many people do you actually manage in the office?
The maximum I've managed is 4. Now I manage 2 because payroll I used to be in charge of payroll. It's broken off into human resources, which we need because it's that kind of world now where you need,
you
to
need
know
HR
all your
everywhere.
labor laws, and you need HR, and she's wonderful, and so I don't have oversight over that anymore. I fund everything, but I don't have the oversight.
Okay, all right. Is there any real difference between the private sector that you know of and a municipal job in this particular position when it comes to dealing with money?
Okay, with money, in the private sector, when you work in finance, you have a certain clientele. You have your you have stockholders, you do that. If you have investors, you do that. They're who you cater to. You tend to take more risks. I don't take risks. That's my money too. In the government, you can't take those risks.
Right.
Statutory laws prevent you from it. You answer to the DOR. You have many state agencies that you answer to, so.
And the DOR is the Department of Revenue?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm
Just
very,
for anyone who's
okay.
not sure.
I'm very, very cautious and careful because I am also a taxpayer, and that is also my money.
Right.
And I don't want people playing with my money.
Correct.
So,
And how long have you been in Lakeville?
35 years ago I moved here.
Wow.
Yes. And I've been very fortunate because I volunteered for so many teams because I had 3 boys. I lived at Ted Williams Camp for a while, but I met so many great people. Very fortunate, very fortunate. It's just a great community.
Yeah, and it's great that you're able to also live in Lakeville and at the same time serve Lakeville
Yes.
as your
Yes.
job.
Yes.
So that's a great thing.
Yes.
It's a great thing for all of us anyways.
Yeah.
All right, I asked you all that. What makes you want to stay in the position?
The reason I want to stay is because I'm not done yet. Because as long as I've been in municipal government, there's always been sort of a succession. And I'd like to have a succession, so, I'm not opposed to new ideas and new things for people to introduce, but I was an Indian that became a chief. I wasn't, I kind of climbed the ladder up and learned things, and I think that we need somebody in the office right now. I have great, great staff But we have untapped talent in the town hall that could learn to do these kinds of jobs. And when a new treasurer collector does come in, it'll be a seamless transition. And they can do what they want, but it won't compromise the morale or the integrity of the office.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because someone coming in from the outside can change things around and probably,
Alienate, they can do things their own way. That's fine. I do things my own way, but I mean,
what does the position actually call for? I mean, what is the rules and regulations or the stipulation of the position? In other words, if someone new comes in and takes the position, is this a position that they have to work 40 hours a week? Or is it something that they can, manage from? Because a lot of people today in the private sector, not
Yeah.
so much in your municipalities, like to work like 2 or 3 days at home.
yeah.
Is this something that someone could, be in charge of, but not necessarily be there 24/7?
Yeah, they're elected, so they can do what they want, work
Oh.
the hours that they want.
Oh, okay.
So myself, I've always been accessible. This is a full-time job. It's my duty to serve the taxpayers of this town, and they need to see me. They elected me. That's my responsibility
Right,
to do that.
right. And I take it, and I know from going in and paying my own bills, that sometimes I will come to the window, and if the girls are busy on the 2 people that work for you are busy on the phone, you get right up from the desk and you come over and you
Oh,
take
yeah.
the payment.
Oh, yeah, I'm not a figurehead.
No, I know.
I'm
No,
a
I
worker
know.
bee.
Well, no, I know that because I've also seen where I've been at the window or I'm behind people at the window, and you're saying hello to all these other people that are waiting at the window. It's like you know everyone in town.
Yes, basically, almost everyone in town. New people are coming in all the time.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah,
I
they're
hope to
on.
know them too, and I've made friends with new people that have come in and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I already asked you that question. Okay, how difficult was it for you to make the adjustment to a municipal position initially? I mean, how do you see the difference between a private sector job and a municipal job? And I know you didn't actually have a job as financial money person in the private sector, but in general, how do you see it different?
Well, since it's been a long time since I was in the private sector, but I forgot that I did work part-time weekends at Gillette Stadium, so there's a big difference. But I was there 2 days a week, so I could acclimate myself to municipal government, and I've been in it for 25 years. Those other jobs are like, they prepare you for lots of things. Customer service, number one, and I've brought that, I think, to my office, because everybody deserves a voice, and we give it to them. And we don't always like what they have to say, but we pay taxes too, and that's our,
Right.
that's our
Right.
job. And sometimes people just need to vent.
Right.
And
Do you think you'd like the job if you did it someplace else? In other words, if you didn't live in the town that you worked in? Would it be different, do you
I
think?
think it would probably be different. I actually, because I like I like the town. I like the townspeople. I mean, most of them are very, very, very nice.
All right, because my really good question that I can't wait to hear the answer to is, what I'd like to know what it is, and I'm sure the audience does too. What is it that you like the most about Lakeville, and what do you wish you could change about Lakeville?
What I like the most is, I work in the town hall, so I see all the departments heads, I see the boards. My heroes are the boards that don't get compensation. They're the cultural council, they're the historical society, the library trustees. They're the people that, it's even me volunteering. I used to be Pop Warner mom, T-ball moms. All this volunteerism because people just want to make this town nice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a community, and they do band together when things are tough. I've been the recipient of some wonderful things from people that barely knew me when my husband died. So there are just wonderful, wonderful people out there that just really care about the town. Not compensation, not awards, not just.
Do it because
They do it because
care
they
about
live
Lakeville.
here and they care about the town and they want it to be the best town that it can be.
But what would you change if you could change something?
It's growing too fast.
I agree. I think it's growing too fast too.
I would hope is to get a really good planner. Because if you're going to grow at this level, you need somebody to plan things so that you still keep that rural character of the town. You know,
Right.
you don't have spigots of modern buildings here and, you know, things like that. I think a planner would be a very, very good thing to have.
Oh, that's a very good idea.
Yeah.
A planner.
Yeah, I think that most towns that really do well with growth have planners.
Okay, well, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
You'll have to, when you have some spare time, you're gonna have to get it out there so that somebody knows this.
Yes.
Is there anything else about what you do or what you choose to do in the future, or what else you might want the audience to know about you?
Well, do you know when you do something for so long that you can't possibly tell everybody everything you do because it's so routine to you?
Correct.
So, I mean, that you do, like, go online for the veterans and you do their paperwork and you do this and you do that. There are so many things I do, I couldn't possibly sit here and tell you all day.
Because it's all up here.
Yeah, but my favorite thing, and it always has been, is the customer and the taxpayers and seeing people. I really, that's my favorite part of
So
the
that's
job.
probably what you'd miss?
Yeah, that's what I would miss seeing everybody all the time. That's
Okay,
true.
well, maybe when you retire, we'll have to get you a chair and you can sit at the door and meet and greet everybody as they come in, like a Walmart greeter.
Yeah, that's
There you
a Walmart greeter. That sounds good.
There you go. All right, well, we're all done with Miss Kenney today, and we will talk to Mr. Flemming.
Oops, can I say one more thing?
Sure.
I would just love to thank my staff, because without them, without Kim and Jean, it wouldn't be possible to be the department that we are.
Oh, good, very
Yes,
good. So
yes.
Kim and Jean, a big thank you for what you do. And we will continue this conversation with Mr. Flemming. And now I'm here with Joseph Flemming. He's the challenger for the position of treasurer and tax collector. You're going to vote on April 1st, which is Monday, between noon and 8 o'clock at Ted Williams Camp. And right now I'm going to introduce Joseph Flemming to you. And I have a few questions for him. And the first one we're going to start off is, we're just curious, the audience and I would like to know what your current position is or your career in the private sector.
Sure.
What you think qualifies you to be the treasurer, town collector, and why people should vote for you.
Sure, great question. Basically, currently, I'm a financial business management consultant. I believe I'm qualified to be Lakeville's next treasurer collector because I have more than 16 years of hands-on financial accounting and business experience. I've served both municipal and private sector, ranging from $50 million to $2 billion in entities. I understand the town of Lakeville is a $37 million operation, so I'm used to the heavy volume, managing a staff on a day-to-day basis. I also have a master's degree in management from Bridgewater State University, and I think I'm a good fit because I'm bondable as well for the town of Lakeville. That makes me qualified.
All right. Where were you a municipal officer?
Well, basically, as a consultant, I actually formed many relationships over the years, and I actually helped some south towns with their cash reconciliation, helping them they were 6 months behind on their GL reconciliation for their audit prep. And as you know, with the state, there's a lot of regulations in place that make sure that things are being done accordingly. So I went in, worked with the town administrators, getting their finance team in order.
So different municipalities, not just
Other
one.
towns in Massachusetts, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Does that also mean that you have are you certified with the Massachusetts Municipal as a treasurer or tax collector or anything?
Currently, I'm not. But one of the things that going back to graduate school and getting getting a master's in management with a concentration in organizational development really focuses on learning to learn. And basically, that's what I've always taken with me, in my education experience, as well as over the past 16 years, managing and running finance departments, ranging from $50 million to $2 billion worth of financial activity. So I've always learned to learn. But I understand, there's schools and summer workshops that actually bring people up to speed who are making their transition over to the public sector. One of the things that I also learned from serving on the Lakeville Finance Committee for 3 years is knowing the numbers, getting the lay of the land, seeing how the numbers are coming in, how they're being accounted for, going through the budget season process with the town administrator as well as the Board of Selectmen, and participating in the town meetings and the special town meetings. So it basically gave me a good lay of the land.
And what 3 years was it?
From April 2015 through April 2018.
Any reason you didn't stay on?
Well, honestly, the 3-year term was up, and my consulting business was actually going quite well. I'm a father of 3, so basically raising my kids and trying to juggle business consulting and that whole full spectrum of marketing and networking took up a lot of my time. However, when I found that the actual treasurer collector seat was coming up, I've always had an interest in government finance, hence my serving on the finance committee. So by me being on the ballot for finance, for the treasurer collector, is another way for me to give back to the community, another way for me to take my skills and expertise outside, from the outside corporate as well as municipal world, and apply those skills and thinking outside the box, and to basically further build on the successes that Deb has done, but basically, trying to take it to the next level at the same time while grooming the current staff and making the necessary changes to get it to the next level.
Have you ever managed a group of people?
Absolutely. Up to 10 people I've managed over the years, ranging from administrative clerks, accounting, staff accountants, human resources, working with the auditors, managing that whole process, and basically running a finance department on the day-to-day, soup to nuts, from, closing out the month to creating the financial reports, to reporting back to the shareholders of the financial performances so they can make educated business decisions, just like the Board of Selectmen here as well. So again, applying those skills, and that's the thing, accounting is accounting. Now, sure, there's mass general law that, governs certain how things are done, but, I'm a numbers guy. And again, it's money in and money out, debits and credits, where do they belong? But taking the numbers and say, hey, what does this all mean? And making the proper management decisions to further, groom the department, as well as working with other departments to say, okay, this is what's going on. Here's what the treasurer and collector's office is doing. Here's how we relate to other town departments as well as the community at large.
Okay. So you don't see any difference real between a private sector job doing the same thing or a municipal job?
Well, I think there's a slight difference and that's a great point. The slight difference, whereas in the private sector, where you're reporting to shareholders, you're trying to maximize the profitability to the people that have skin in the game. Now, with that being said, I think there'll be a difference in serving a greater number of taxpayers while trying to save and, safe harbor the assets of the town. So I think it'll be more involved in basically giving back to the community rather than maximizing profits of a corporation.
So
I think there'll be some slight differences there. But at the end of the day, as a Lakeville homeowner for the last 5 years, I also have a vested interest in seeing that things are obviously done the right way and we can continue to build off those successes.
Right. Well, I would hope anyone who lives in town and works for the town
Absolutely.
does see a vested interest in doing something good for the town.
Yeah, absolutely. And working in a consulting basis, I've heard that, from top managers saying that, there's a need for qualified individuals to carry out these higher level type roles. And sometimes people that are in these roles have been in the town for years, which is great because there's a legacy of knowledge and history that goes there. But I think it's important to have the right skill sets and degreed individuals as well as outside experiences so they're not, they can think outside the box and challenge the status quo while building, off of the successes of the history.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
so.
Okay. You've talked a lot about a lot of the questions that I had.
Good, thank you.
Is there any particular reason why you decided to run now?
Well, what makes me want the position basically is, as I previously mentioned, my interest in governmental finance. I've gotten to know the lay of the land pretty well since I've bought a home in 5 years and being on finance committee. I regularly watch the town board selector meetings and the other meetings that are going on. So I have a pretty good idea of what's going on. And basically, With that being said, I believe the town, needs a strong financial team in place, and I think I can assist with this, especially as we're welcoming a new town administrator in the very near future, and I think that some key components of the financial team are actually missing in Lakeville. For example, we currently do not have a permanent town accountant. We are outsourcing that. I also understand that the director of assessing is currently being outsourced. So
Those are all Board of Selectmen decisions.
understood. But what I'm trying to say is, there is a core financial team that really should be in-house that deal with the day-to-day. And I really am wondering, for the future, especially who's really watching out financially for Lakeville, if it's mainly outsourced. So I think what I'm trying to say is you need qualified people.
Oh, I agree
and a
with you,
strong core team.
100%, but again, it's a Board of Selectmen decision.
Totally understood.
And as a citizen, any
Understood.
one of us could go to a meeting and tell them we disagree.
Totally understood. Absolutely. Great point. But again, I think the key components is having a good, strong internal financial team, and I think I can assist with that.
Okay.
Good point.
Is there, well, because, as a citizen, you can always complain. Or tell them something that you think needs to be adjusted or changed or fixed. So you don't actually see any, you don't foresee any issue with you making any adjustment from the private sector? I mean, you're going to miss consulting?
I do, but at the end of the
Because
day.
the time consulting, you get to make your own times, I would imagine.
Well, and again, one of the, as far as making the adjustment from the private sector to the municipal, I don't really see it an issue. I see it as more an opportunity to learn and give back. Like I said, that's what I've always taken with me, learning to learn. And I think, serving will allow me, on finance committee as well as my outside expertise to make that transition easier. Am I going to know everything overnight?
Oh, God, no.
Absolutely not.
No.
But again, there are schools in place, workshops in place. I have a network of friends that I know that I could bounce a question off if hey, this is what's going on in the current treasurer collector's office, and I understand there's a really tight niche association of other treasurer collectors that work together to help each other out on a bigger perspective, and I would leverage those relationships to carry out the transition.
Right.
Yeah.
So you said you've been in town for 5 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you before?
Well, I owned a home in East Taunton for 10 years, and
Oh, okay.
I sold
You were close.
Yep. So I was, again, right down the street, probably 10 minutes away. I did my bachelor's and graduate degree at Bridgewater State University, so I'm a local guy, and I plan on being here for the long term.
Well, what is it that you like about Lakeville, and what would you like to change about Lakeville?
All right. Well, basically, I love Lakeville for the community, the town's beauty that it has to offer us. I like the peace and quiet. It's nice. I have 3 small children, 2 of which are in the current elementary schools. I'm here for the long term. I've been a homeowner, like I said, with my wife for the last 5 years in Lakeville. But as far as changing Lakeville goes, if elected, I hope to further streamline and improve the processes and procedures within the current treasurer collector's office, making it more efficient. And I was basically really concerned when I saw the March 18, 2019 Treasurer Collector presentation to the Board of Selectmen with the Finance Committee, where Deb was presenting her financial presentation and basically was saying there's a lack of succession planning, and that's where I see there's a room for an improvement there. So that's one of the things that concerns me there.
But is there anything about Lakeville itself besides the position or anything that has to do with what you're running for that you'd like to see change?
I would like to see more transparency. I would like to be able to build further relationships with my current residents and neighbors. Like I said, I think there's improvements to be had within the office itself, but again, to build relationships, to give back to the community, and to leverage my experience so the experience for the tax holders and homeowners is a more pleasant experience.
Okay. Yeah. Is there anything else as we wrap up that you'd like to say?
Basically, if elected, I look to bring the changes that the town of people of Lakeville would like to see, and I'm open. My door is always open if elected. And I'm here to serve, and I hope I get the opportunity to serve Lakeville.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here, Joseph.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
Likewise.
And I'd like to remind everybody again that voting is April 1st, Monday. It is from noon to 8 p.m. at Ted Williams Park. I hope we'll see you there.